What's going on, guys? We are back for another card. We're going to label this one called the card that we're not going to break down that much. That's going to be the name of this video. The card that we're not going to break down that much. It's just really not a good card. And I'm relaxed right now. I got my microphone in my hand. I'm not in the studio. I'm home, chilling out, doing some dishes. And I wanted to jump on here to talk about a bunch of things, including the fights coming up. Really not that good of a card. If you look at it from a whole, it's obviously in France. So they're bringing in a lot of French fighters, a lot of new fighters, a lot of people that they're trying to get some of these French guys some exposure while exiling some of the fighters that aren't doing so well out, kind of trimming the fat. Sometimes they utilize these cards for that. They're bringing in some new guys from France that probably would never touch the octagon if it was in another state or another country. But when you're bringing it to somewhere like France, you want the fans to enjoy it. So you're going to bring some locals in and stuff like that. So it's that type of card. So it's a card that I will tell you guys, don't go investing hard. And I know I've been saying this the last couple of weeks, but it's been biting me in the butt a little bit. Because we're doing very well from the picking perspective the past 2 weeks, 11-2, and we're doing good. But some of these prop bets and stuff that we're throwing in, and it could take that one bet that just kind of annihilates the night and kind of either breaks us even or puts us in a deficit a little bit. So, but overall, the reads are good, the picks are good. But it's always that one fight, like the Contender Series last night. I never play the Contender Series. I highly advise no one to play the Contender Series. I don't think you should listen to anybody who goes on YouTube and gives you Contender Series bets. It is very irresponsible to play the Contender Series. I've been saying this for years. For some odd reason, last night I decided that I'm going to play the Contender Series. And I did, and I didn't do well. I did not do well. The one that I lost was Vogel. I was not watching the fight, to be honest with you. I was in two fantasy football drafts. I was doing two at the same time. So my Discord was letting me know what was going on with the fights. And I just saw them saying, that he got robbed, or it was a close fight, but it was a bad decision. The wrong guy won. So it's like the judges will take it away from you. You know what I mean? And then there was just, you can't read Contender Series. So I made a mistake. I put a couple plays on Contender Series. Whether the Vogel was the right pick or the wrong pick, it doesn't matter. You don't want to play the Contender Series. You don't want to do it. It's too volatile. It's too up and down. There's a lot of nerves. You got to remember, these guys are stepping into the cage, with minimal people there. They got the bosses all lined up, almost like you're on a death row. There's a lot. There's a lot there. There's a lot to be absorbed when you're making that first walk, and it's in front of Dana, it's in front of McMahon, it's in front of Sean Shelby, in front of the UFC brass, it's in front of people of America watching. It's nothing you want to bet. So people who tell you, and every week they're coming out giving you wagers, they are throwing darts. That's exactly what they're doing. So I highly advise you guys not to do that. I went against my own constitution last night, and I paid for it. And now I definitely vowed to myself I will never bet the Contender Series ever again. What else? We have a very good, we're going to get into all the UFC and all the boxing stuff, but I do want to let you guys know, first of all, please subscribe to the content, comment below, tell me what you think of the videos, tell me if there's certain things you want me to add in, anything you want, but please, this is all free content. Like it, subscribe, and definitely comment with anything you want. You want to talk crap to me, talk crap to me. You want to, give me a compliment, give me a compliment. You want to tell me the content's great or it sucks, do as you wish. Just give us some feedback. We have a very good promo going on at our site right now, themadlabmma.com, and the thing that makes us very unique, the one thing that makes us a very unique site is that you have a lot of sites that give you everything. They give you every sport, every path, every soccer, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And it's just loaded with content. And the one thing that I always wanted to do, no matter what we brought on, was we were always going to keep a very fine, detailed comb on every piece of content we bring in. It had to be thick, it had to be beefy, it had to be, robust, detail-oriented, and pretty much a packet of everything that you need to make your own decisions and to either listen to my decisions or take what I say and take your knowledge and go. But no matter what, I always wanted to make sure that you leave our site knowing that this is the most information I can get. I'm not getting any better information than this. I'll make my own decision from here. And I can almost guarantee you that you will never find another site out there right now that gives you more content in two sports. One of them is obviously mixed martial arts and boxing. Those are the two sports that when we're doing our content, especially for mixed martial arts, because boxing, we kind of pick and choose our spots. We can't cover all these amateur boxing matches and stuff like that. So we pick the bigger fights. We pick good fights. We cover them. We break them down. If there's something in there that we like, we let our people know. But there is no DFS for boxing, which kind of stinks, but I understand why there's not. But for MMA, you will not find more detailed and robust content than you will on the MadLabmma.com. Whether you are doing it for DFS, whether you're doing it for wagers, whether you are doing it just to learn, whether you're doing it to be a part of our community, which we have the best community out there. We have a very mature community. A lot of these discords that you'll go into, they're kids, and you'll see them arguing with each other back and forth, and there's fights. And we all in our community, we literally get behind each other. If a bunch of people are having a bad night and there's one person who's having a great night, we all rally behind them and let's go. And it's the best community I've ever been a part of. I don't even consider them like my community. I consider them my friends. I know about them. I know where they live. I know, their hobbies. We give everybody nicknames in there once they win a tournament. So it really is. It's so odd because it's like you have a family and a friendship with people that you really don't meet face to face every day. Anytime you pop in there, you see them, it's nice because I'll just look sometimes. I'll see them talking back and forth. And I'm like, all right, we made friends here. Like we made these guys become friends. So it's honestly the best community. We also have football now. And our football content was always very, very good. We're very known for mixed martial arts. But we've always had a good football content. It was just very watered down. It was very to the point. You know what I mean? I do a lot of the content. I do 90% of the content on the site. So when I'm doing MMA all week, and then Saturday after the fight, I'm jumping on, I'm doing an NFL article. I don't want to be all wordy. I put all my words into my MMA. I mean, I do 15 to 20,000 words a week on my article, plus everything else I do for DFS and the breakdowns, and Steve Cilio does the metrics, and Christine Showdown does the dog pick of the week, and all the guys who contribute, Marangeli, everybody who comes in, during the live betting and stuff. So we just give you absorbent amounts of content for MMA to the point where I bet you half of the subscribers don't even read all of it, but it's there if you want it. But for the football end of it now, what we did was we brought on what we feel is the best football provider out there, which is Run Pure Sports, RPS. And we made a deal with them where they are giving us their playbook. So we now have the RPS playbook. And in that playbook, what you're getting is you're getting all their favorite DFS plays for every Sunday, the whole slate for Sunday. On top of that, you're getting all of my DFS, which I did last year. I do everything by tiers, and I'm giving you that structure. Also, on top of that, you're getting our wagering package, which is about 5 of us in there. We're called the Currency Cartel for the NFL, and we give you all our bets for the week. We track everything so you could follow it from week to week. Just the content for the weekend is the best that you're going to find. That I'm very confident in saying that. And I'm not saying it because it's our company. I'm saying it because I don't just rapid fire people. I hired everybody within the walls of our company. I don't hire from the outside because I feel like I know these people. I can trust these people. And we just have such a tight community. We kind of know where everybody sits, where all the pieces, what everybody's position is. And we really run like a fine engine. So that was my goal in this. I wanted to be a weekend company. I didn't want to come in on Saturday night and be like, all right, guys, see you next week. I wanted to have Saturday and Sunday. On top of that, we have super sharp guys in there that do NASCAR. We got Derek doing golf. We got guys doing NBA. We got guys doing putting for all sorts of sports in there all day long, all night long. So you're technically getting a lot of different sports in there with all these sharp minds that are in the Discord. But we pigeonhole NFL and we pigeonhole MMA. And if you want to own the weekend, we're running a special right now that's going to go up until probably just right before the season starts, where if you buy the MMA package, you are getting the entire season of football for free. No add-on price, no additional charge. So it's just great value. After the season starts, obviously, will be 2 separate prices. So I would definitely hop in. We do contests every week. I give away personal memorabilia of my own. We're going to be starting doing box breaks and sports breaks and stuff like that with all cards and comics and stuff like that. So it's really just one big playground for the weekend. And during the week, like I said, we'll do other things. So definitely come check us out. I mean, you don't have to commit yourself to a year, or you could come in for a month. You can come in for a week, and you can see how you like us. So check it out, themadlabmma.com. Join us. Let's talk about the last card. We always talk about like how soon you forget. This is a fight nobody kind of forgot, right? We all kind of expected Holloway to come out and win this fight. Korean Zombie, I think, left on one of the best high notes you can leave on. One of the best retirements I've ever seen in MMA. To lose and leave with the crowd just going bananas, I thought that was amazing. But it was written on the wall. That was really written on the wall what was going to happen there. And, I didn't like what Dana White said after the fight, right? When he said, when they asked him, like, what's next for Max Holloway? Can you see a trilogy with another fight with Volkanovski? And he said, the way Volkanovski's fighting right now, I don't think Max wants that fight. Like, why would you say that? Like, why not? Why wouldn't he want that fight? Not saying he's going to win the fight, but why would he just want to be fighting to fight? He's fighting for a reason. Like, the guy's fighting for a reason. If he wants to fight Holloway, if he wants to fight Volkanovski, why? And he works his way to that position. If he works his way to that position, why would you say, I don't think he wants that fight? Almost like Volkanovski would completely destroy him. You want to see who's the best. You always said that. You go onto the panel and you said it about Merab, and you're like, well, if you don't want to find out who the best is, then this ain't the right game for you. But if Holloway works his way to a position where he can fight Volkanovski, and we already know how great Max Holloway was, why wouldn't you do it again? Just because they fought and he lost the times that they fought? I get it. I do get it. I understand it. But if he beats the people that he's supposed to beat and he works his way into a position to fight him again, they fight again. So that I wasn't too crazy about. But another fight that we were correct on was Anthony Smith. Nobody gave Anthony Smith a chance in this fight. Everyone was on Ryan Spann. I did not understand it. Not that they didn't give him a chance, but I don't think they... I think everyone thinks like Anthony Smith is so washed because he had a stinker of a fight in his last fight, and then he lost to Glover Teixeira in a grappling match. Like, okay, like, big deal. Like, he's human. He's getting older. He's had over 50 fights. Like, the guy's not going to come in primed every single fight. Like, it's not going to happen. Do I think Anthony Smith is stylistically matchup predicated? Yes, I 1,000% do at this point in his career. I think he's very matchup predicated. I say it really depends on who you match him up with to see how well he's going to do. But I didn't see Ryan Spann beating him. This is the whole thing, guys. When you have a guy in Ryan Spann who, this is like a clear indication how you never pick a fighter. Like, anybody who picked Ryan Spann did not think about this. This guy is so undisciplined with his diet that he has his nutritionists add potato chips into his diet. This is the truth. Like, you could look it up. This is public knowledge. So, like, how do you trust him being dialed in and committed for 12 weeks or 8 weeks or however long his camp was when his own camp, like, literally, spoke on this? And normally when a fighter has a rematch, the rematch usually does go. There's very seldom you see a rubber match. Like think about the term rematch and rubber match. You see a lot more rematches than you do rubber match. Why? Because the rematches usually go to the guy who won the first time, depending on how close they are together. So, I don't know why people thought Spann was going to win that fight. I wouldn't have been surprised if Spann won that fight, but there's no way I was picking him. Like, I couldn't pick him. Was there any other surprises on this card? I think Giga did his job. Nakamura, Erin Blanchfield against Talia Santos. A lot of people thought Talia Santos, was going to win that fight. And I was nervous in round one. I got to be honest with you. I'm a big Erin Blanchfield advocate. She's from my hometown. I know of her name. I know her longer than people even knew her name because she was from my town. I knew how good she was. But I was nervous in that first round. It felt like she was fighting a stone. Like there was nothing that she could do to Talia Santos. She was like kind of hitting her. Wasn't doing much. And Talia Santos would hit her and get a big reaction out of her. And I was like, listen, if Talia Santos' conditioning is dialed in, this could be a problem. Her conditioning wasn't dialed in. And Blanchfield got stronger as the fight went on. And she ended up winning a well-deserved decision. So, you know, good for Blanchfield. What else do we have here? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. All right, so before we jump to this card, yeah, you know what? Let's go right into the card. So, you know, when you look at this fight, I notice a lot of public perception is jumping on Spivak here, and I get it. I do. I get it. I was one of the guys who when Spivak was fighting, I said, this guy's not getting the shine that he deserves. And he's still not. And I think the reason is because he's from Moldova. A lot of people don't even know where Moldova is. He's not really a public guy. You see him when he fights, and then you don't see him anymore. And that's what he does. And the UFC does not like that. However, if you keep winning, the UFC can't deny that. You can't just keep denying if a guy is winning. And in a division where heavyweights are not very good anymore, you need some talented heavyweights, and Spivak is a very talented heavyweight. He's got decent striking. He's got good grappling and wrestling for a heavyweight. He's got decent conditioning. He's got decent durability. He's a good fighter. Like, I'm not going to say he's a great fighter. I'm not going to say he's a bad fighter. Spivak is a good fighter. And then you look at, okay, well, you got a guy now who has the X factor that literally GANE doesn't have. And you do the math, because that's what people do these days. They do MMA math, and they're like, here he is. We're going to pick him. You got to look deeper into that, though. You got to look deeper into why he looks so terrible against Jon Jones. And I'm going to tell you why he looks so terrible against Jon Jones. He choked. It had nothing to do with he can't stop a takedown, or he's got no wrestling, or he's got no this. He physically and mentally choked. And I don't know if you guys ever had some kind of stage fright, or you've ever had some kind of an adrenaline dump. Doesn't matter what kind of skill set you have. It doesn't matter what kind of vocal cords you have when you get on that microphone, where you're in the studio and you're singing and you sound like Lane Staley from Alice in Chains, or Chris Cornell from Soundgarden. And then as soon as you step on the stage, you sound like a 12-year-old kid entering puberty. That's stage fright. And there's nothing you could do about that. There are moments in life where you have that. There's moments in life where I've had that. And if you say you haven't had it, you're lying. There's moments in life when big spots in games and sporting events, and times I've even sparred where I was like, am I doing the fucking right thing getting in with this guy? So there are situations where, yes, you do have a little bit of an adrenaline dump and your heart starts racing, and it happens. It 1,000% happens. It happened to him that night. The spotlight was too big for him. He wasn't ready for it. He was fighting Jon Jones. He had the opportunity to beat in the GOAT. Like, all these things culminate. And you got to remember the pressure that was on him from all the marketing that were thrown into him. All the, this new breed of heavyweight and athlete and this, that. And he came into the cage and he completely choked. So is that an assessment towards his skill set at that point? To the point where, if they were in the gym right now, would he lose like that? If they were just comfortable in the gym and they were loose and he was loose, and would he lose like that? No, he wouldn't. So you can't take that performance like a lot of people are and say, well, he's got no takedown defense. He quit. He's terrible. He's a bust. You can't do that. You can't do that because everybody's human, and that was clear that he choked. He had an adrenaline dump. He froze. And he choked in a moment. That's what it is. Can he choke in a moment again? 1,000% he could choke in a moment again. But this is a matchup that I like for him, because I think that when you're talking about Jon Jones, you're talking about a completely different animal. I'm not talking about Sergey Spivak. I'm talking about Jon Jones. Spivak is not the most athletic guy on the planet. This guy's got to really work his way in to get into someone like GANE. GANE is an extremely athletic guy. He's nimble on his feet. He moves well. He knows how to use his jab. He uses his kicks to keep you away from him. I think he's serviceable on the ground. I don't think he's good on the ground. I think he's serviceable. But I think his athletic ability is just going to keep him in space and keep him frustrating Spivak in this fight. If Spivak grounds this fight, It's going to be interesting to see how GANE reacts. Is he going to be able to get back to his feet? Is he going to be choked because he's in front of his crowd? What's going to happen? Like, I don't know. I really, really can't answer that. But I will tell you this: the minute he gets taken down and gets back to his feet, and the crowd goes crazy because he's on his home soil, that's going to be a major confidence booster for him to say, "Look, I got back up. Like, I can do this now." And I think that's when he starts running away with the fight. I don't know if he finishes Spivak. It's a 5-round fight. You would ultimately assume that the heavyweights are going to finish each other, but this is a fight where I think he's got to stay a little cautious. He's got to kind of stay on the outside. He's got to kind of ping him, uses teep kicks and stuff like that. Kind of just keep Spivak honest. And if the situation presents itself, go in for the kill and finish him. But don't by no means go getting overzealous and loading up and exposing your hips and doing something stupid to get taken down, because that can happen, but it won't happen because he's really not. He's not wired that way. He's not wired to fight that way. He's a much more calculated, cerebral fighter. So I like GANE here. I don't know how he finishes the fight. I don't know if he actually finishes him or it goes to the cards. But I do like him here. I think he does get his kind of a redemption song here in this spot. Main event in front of France. He kind of right the ship, even though it's obviously not against John Jones, and you're never going to not look at that fight a little bit with kind of a stinky eye. But I think he does. I think he does his job here. I think he gets it done, and I think Spivak will be fine. I don't think he might fight to the point where people might get some. He might get some notoriety from this. Being in a big main event spot, fighting. Maybe fights well. Maybe it's a close fight. People start knowing who he is a little bit. So I don't think it's really a lose situation for Spivak any way you look at it, because the guy really, from a marketing perspective, isn't going anywhere anyway. So if he just comes in a main event spot and he looks good and he gives it, and if he wins, forget about it. But if he really has a good showing, he'll gain popularity among especially the casuals who don't know who he is. So I'm going to go GANE in this spot. I think this is a spot where I think people are undermining his athletic ability and how good he is. And I think he's going to prove that on Saturday. Next fight, you got Manon Fiorot versus Rose Namajunas. I am blown away by this line. I got to be honest with you. I'm completely blown away by this line. I have no idea where people's minds are that anyone thinks that Rose Namajunas should be a 2-1 dog in this fight. I mean, I have no idea what people are thinking. This is your typical spot where how soon people forget. How soon people forget, and how the amnesia that people have. Like, I'm in this industry. I deal with this every day. I go on Twitter and I see the same usual suspects, saying things, and then the next month it changes. I'm like, what the hell? I thought like 2 months ago you said they were going to be champion. Or I thought like 2 months ago when she had that head kick knockout, you said she was the GOAT. And then all of a sudden now it's like a year later or a couple fights later, and it's, she's garbage and she's washed, and it happens all the time. It happened with Robert Whittaker. It happened with it happened with Aljamain Sterling 1,000 times. I mean, every fight up until this fight, it happened. Everybody, he's a bum, he's boring, he's this, and now I was getting tweets, people, these morons and these trolls, I'll deal with it, he lost. Like, it happens all the time. I just don't, listen, can she lose this fight? Yeah, Manon Fiorot is tough, and, Rose is coming up in weight, which obviously is a concern too, because this is where the problem would lie anywhere they fought, is Manon's ability to be strong, be a bully, be, very pressure heavy, and not giving you those opportunities to really move around, find what you want, dictate the space a little bit, find your range. She doesn't give you that time. She's very, very pressure heavy and not patient, and she's beaten a decent list of fighters. It's not like she's beating cans, but when you look at the two resumes side to side, like, are you kidding me? Like, you can't even compare the two. You have a fighter in Rose Namajunas that literally is so cerebral on the feet. She is so well skilled in her movement, in her stance, in where setting traps, where she wants to go. Her head kick is so untelegraphed that it looks like you don't even see it coming. Like, she does so many things so well, and her grappling. The problem with her is this. You don't know who you're going to get with Rose. You just never know who you're going to get. If you took her brain and you went like this, click, and you put it on, and there was no way that she could unlock it and turn it off where she goes up in the air and goes all around the fucking universe, she's almost unbeatable at that point. When she's locked in and you can lock her in, you're not beating Rose. Like, you better be 110% on that night to beat her. And I was never really, in the beginning, a huge Rose person. See, I'm the first one to admit it. I'm the first one to sit here. Like, I thought Darren Till was going to be good. I'm sitting here. I'm not lying. I really did. I thought Darren Till was going to be that old school guy who's going to come in. He's going to kind of use his striking. But I had no idea that he can never learn how to stop takedowns. Like, this guy is just never got better. He's got the striking. He's got the pressure. He's got the movement. The guy just never worked on not taking takedowns. So I came in under the assumption, you give this guy about a year or two to really learn how to stuff a takedown and a defensive wrestling, just work his way back to his feet. This guy's going to be trouble for people. He never panned out. I was wrong. I was 100% wrong. Darren Till was probably my worst call ever. However, with Rose, I was on the other side. I thought she was good. But up here, I was like, she just doesn't have that championship mindset. I don't know. There's something about her where she doesn't look like she's wired to be like a champion in her brain. Like, she doesn't have confidence. I then started really watching her fights, watching her career grow, and my mind started going like this. No, this girl is different. Like, she just doesn't handle it like normal people. You know, she kind of bottles it up inside. She keeps it inside. She goes into the cage and she thinks like the victim. She goes in like the victim. Like, you're going in there and she's going in there with you and you're a bully. And she's got to stop the bully. And it boils back to her past. It boils back to her past. So when she goes into that cage and she's like a silent assassin, she creates this storyline in her head that you're a bully and she needs to beat the bully. And she does. Like, she does. And what a fight for her to really use that storyline against someone like Manon. Because Manon is a bully. Like, that's what she is. She's a very good fighter, but she's a bully. You know, this is a really tough fight for me to call because I do get nervous with her coming up in weight. I do get nervous with where her mind is right now. She did flirt with retirement. She claims that she's back. She claims that she was stepping on the gas halfway for the majority of her career. Not majority of her career, but a majority of the last couple of years. But an 80% Rose beats Manon. Like, a 75% Rose beats Manon. You know, so I don't even think we need 100% Rose. I think we need like a 75 to 80% Rose, and she beats Manon Fiorot. She loses her down the stretch. And what I mean by that is I think that Manon probably comes out and she wins round one. Okay, and then Rose comes out, and Rose starts getting her vibe a little bit, starts feeling her out, and starts getting her range, and starts really getting to her flow state, and you have a close round in round two. And then Rose, I think, just with her cerebral mind, her knowledge, her veteran savvy in the cage, being in there with the best when crucial times, she kind of runs away to the fight and gets like a 29-28 decision. That's the way I see it going down. Like, that's the way I really see it going down. So I'm going with the dog here. I'm going with Rose Namajunas by way of decision. That's going to do it, guys. I'm only going to break down the main event and the co-main. I think that's enough. But these other fights, they're really not that good. I mean, obviously, my subscribers know all the content will be up. If you guys want to check out our content and obviously get in early enough for the NFL package that we're going to be doing, please do so. It's a deal that you definitely want to get locked into, because once you lock in, if you end up canceling and leaving, then when you come back, that price no longer exists. You have to then pay for 2 packages. So as long as you're in, you're grandfathered in for the year. You know, you're grandfathered in for the whole year. But the minute you exile out and try to come back in, then you got to pay 2 separate prices. So I would get it now. The value is going to be great. We're going to have such a fun time this year with contests and box breaks and private memorabilia that I'm going to be giving away in our community. So hop in now. Before we do leave, we got Christine Showdown's dog pick of the week. And that's it, guys. I'll talk to you next week.